Today is how not to behave at work. So in 15 years of advising on employment issues in the workplace, the things people get up to in the office or outside of the office never fail to surprise me. So today I'd like to share some examples of real cases I've advised on in the recruitment sector or cases that have been in the tribunals. The first example is don't discriminate against a candidate or perpetuate the discrimination. In that case, a recruitment consultant passed on the message to a candidate that the client didn't want to hire them because they were worried they were about to have a baby. And the claim was brought against the client, but also against the recruitment company for being an accessory to that discrimination. So be very careful. And as you can see, the disgruntled face there of having to pass on that message, I think.
That was the boss when he just
Yeah, I think so. But we managed to settle it because the company didn't want to have the reputational damage as a result of that case, as you can probably imagine. The next one is don't lie to extend your holiday. We all don't want to return to work after holiday, but this was a great excuse. So in this case, a recruitment consultant who was on holiday in China said they couldn't come back to work because their passport fell into the river when they were walking over a bamboo bridge in China. And it was going to take 2 weeks to get a new passport in order to come back to work. A few phone calls, our client found out it actually would only take 24 hours, so they promptly sacked him when he returned to work. He brought an unfair dismissal claim, and unsurprisingly, he lost. Another example, social media. I think a lot of people assume that it's all outside of work, but there are plenty of examples and cases that I've advised on where saying stupid things on social media, and in that case was someone who was commenting about their colleagues' promiscuity, and they brought an unfair dismissal claim after this event and said, no, it wasn't work-related. But because all their colleagues were part of that group on Facebook, it was very much work-related, and they lost their claim for unfair dismissal. So another classic example, don't ignore and think that things are not work-related when they sometimes can still be on social media. This is a very obvious one, but in a case earlier this year for a company called Northampton Recruitment, this went all the way to the Employment Tribunal. A shareholder in the business actually had too many drinks at an after party, at a Christmas party, and punched someone in the face twice. The company claimed that it was not work-related because it happened at the after party, but because the owner of the business paid for the drinks, paid for the taxi to the hotel, it was still in the context of work. Also, don't steal confidential information. Seems to be obvious, but it still happens a lot. A disgruntled employee, a senior manager that I've been assisting the business with at the moment, left, took a lot of candidate and client information, used that to then start poaching clients and candidates after they left and set up their own business. And in that case, we clamped down on them and managed to get some undertakings, but it was still risky. They'd also a data breach of GDPR, so a very risky issue there as well. Another common example, and I think I'm advising on about 7 cases relating to this at the moment, is don't poach your clients and staff if you've got post-termination restraints after you leave. And in one of the cases, the former employee has been taking staff members out for dinner and asking them if they want a job in their new business. The ex-employer has found out about it, has now brought a claim against him to try and recover damages, including fees that they've lost as a result of placements and approaches he's made to clients. So tips for employees: understand your policies, know what your limits are within those policies are, read your contracts carefully, particularly what applies post-employment if you're looking to set up your own business or do something, and also know your limits, particularly when it comes to how many drinks to have at a Christmas party, and we are approaching that season. In terms of employers, and hopefully we're moving on to that tip now, to be very careful about what you're protecting within your contracts and policies to make sure that you have something to rely on if you need to enforce them in terms of protecting your business after staff leave or in terms of behaviour that may occur in the workplace, so you've got a good process there. Make sure you act consistently and fairly in adopting those policies and the appropriate outcomes that should follow, and also in terms of post-employment behaviour, make sure you act quickly and decisively in terms of enforcing them. So thank you, hopefully that was interesting.